Savinho to Tottenham. Here we go. Don't adjust your sets. Don't refresh. We are finally getting this deal over the line. Tottenham have verbal agreement with Manchester City for the signing of Savinho. The most protracted transfer of all time is finally coming to a close. It's going to be the end of the daily Savinho. We can stop talking about will it happen? When is it going to happen? Are they edging closer? Is it accelerating? Finally, we have club-to-club agreement as reported tonight from Fabrizio Romano. Hope you're all staying up late. I hope you're all perked up, got that little extra boost of energy from this bomber that has been dropped tonight from Fabrizio Romano. Maybe, and we'll get into it, maybe in time for the Brentford game on Saturday. Romano posted about 20 minutes ago. Tottenham reached verbal agreement with Man City to sign Savinho. Here we go. Those three beautiful words. Club to club, verbal agreement in place tonight with Savinho, set to travel for Tottenham medical. Fee will be over £75 million. Details to follow. Separate talks for Omar Marmoush. We'll get into some of those details and why as well. Although it's a very, very large fee, it's kind of misleading, and we'll get into why that large fee for Savinho is not what you all think it is, and it's not this crazy overpayment that everyone is suggesting. He also says Tottenham also called on Marmoush to get over the line after the deal for Savinho agreed tonight. Negotiations at advanced stage. We'll get into the Marmoush deal, but let's talk about the Savinho deal first. He says Savinho is done. Marmoush expected to be on the next one too. Now, fantastic news. I've been so excited about the prospect of Spurs signing Savinho. We're finally going to have a winger that can play each side, that can take on their fullback, that's got pace, that also, for me, does have good final delivery as well. He's a good crosser of the ball. He's going to frighten the life out of defenders, and Tottenham are finally getting him over the line. Big question, though. There's been a lot of talk. Is he going to be back? Is he going to be in time for Brentford? Are we going to have him as an option for our opener, Premier League opener on the weekend? Well, according to Romano, he's having a medical. Now, he needs to be registered by midday tomorrow. Otherwise, he will not be eligible to play. According to SZY and some other ITKs, if you believe them, Hotspur Way is open 24 hours for medicals. Already, the medical is underway. The agreement was reached at 9. The aim is to have him involved for the Brentford game. Also, there's been some suggestions about a work permit or a visa that he needs to have in time for this game. Well, SZY is claiming the work permit is already underway due to the agreement happening at 9 o'clock already last night. So looks like the movements are in place. Obviously, I think it's no surprise. Well, it's no coincidence that the agreements happened tonight. I think Tottenham are doing all they can to push through to get him involved for Brentford. We know we are very, very light on numbers for the opening game. Kudus is not going to be there. He's in Ghana at the moment for personal reasons. We have obviously we haven't got the attacking signings through the door with Gakpo or Marmoush. Solanke's touch and go. We know Maddison isn't quite sharp and fit. Kulusevski's still not available. So we've kept Mikey Moore around, stopped him going on loan so he can be an option. So right now, our only options are Moore and Tell. So I think Tottenham are doing all they can to push this signing through to make sure we can have him, even if it's on the bench, involved on the weekend. And I don't think it's a coincidence that we're hearing now Friday at midnight that the deal has been agreed and everything is now underway. Because I think there is now a mad dash to get this deal agreed before that noon deadline, so Spurs can register him and have him eligible. I envisage we might get an announcement probably in the morning when everyone wakes up. But this deal has been rumbling. It's been in the works for now over a year. We've been talking about this deal happening for so long. It almost doesn't seem real that finally it's actually going to happen. They're going to allow him to come to Spurs. They're not having waited to get a replacement over the line. And it's I think it's a fantastic deal. A young winger with bags of potential, bags of ability, and he is going to get bums off seats. He is going to excite the Spurs fans. He's a proper Tottenham player. I think the Tottenham fans are going to fall in love with him very, very quickly. And a lot of people are quite skeptical. Does he have a lack of end product? How's his decision making? All these different kind of question marks. All you have to do for me, you watch him play, get him on the pitch, get him in a Spurs shirt, get him running at fullbacks, and I think the Tottenham fans are going to fall in love. We love a winger like Savinho at Tottenham. Think about Aaron Lennon. Think about David Ginola. Think about these kind of wingers that puff their chest out, that aren't scared when fullbacks, when they're up against fullbacks and they're coming to tackle them. They're nothing strikes fear into them. They go and they are confident in themselves and they are relentless. And Savinho is going to be in that mold, and he's going to frighten the life out of defenders. I can't wait for Savinho to be in a Tottenham shirt. And I think we've got a real gem on our hands, in my opinion. I think he's a real gem. And I think Man City could have made a mistake here to let him go. I think it's going to be a fantastic signing. I think it's real quality on our wing. I think it's now an option to compete with Matisse Tell. Obviously, he's going to have to up his game if he's going to stay in the starting 11. We've now got support for Kudus. He can even take Kudus' place. If Kudus isn't playing well enough, we could even play Kudus in the 10 potentially. He covers both wings to basically just as good effect. When he plays on the left, he's more of a winger that likes to go on the outside, just continuously go on the outside and whip those crosses in and get to the byline, get those cutbacks. When he's on the right, he can go inside or outside. He can score goals. I know he hasn't scored many at Man City. Everyone goes on about his goal scoring record, and there is something he has to improve. His shooting technique at the moment, when he's in front of goal, he rushes things. He maybe lacks composure, doesn't pick the right time to shoot. But he did score a lot of goals in La Liga, and mostly he's a creator. I don't think we should be expecting a large goal tally from him. He comes in as a player to create space for the other players and cause problems in opposition defenses, and most importantly, create chances and get assists. That is going to be his role at Tottenham, and that's what he should be judged on, whether he's been a success or failure. But finally, we've got an attacking signing through the door, and it could well be in time for the weekend. Let's see if the doctors are up late, if they've got a coffee brewing, they get these medicals done overnight, and maybe, just maybe, we get an announcement in the morning, and maybe De Zerbi can announce in his press conference tomorrow that he is going to be eligible for the Brentford game. Crossing my fingers. I think at the moment it's touch and go, 50-50. I don't really know if it's going to happen. I'm hopeful. I do think, it's my belief, that Tottenham have got this deal agreed tonight, right now, with Brentford on the horizon, so that he can be involved. That's what I think they're trying to do. But whether it happens, whether they could pull it off, or whether they've left it too late, we'll have to wait and see tomorrow. So all to be revealed with Savinho. But finally, this deal, we can all breathe a sigh of relief. We can all stop talking about Savinho. It feels like every update, every story, every day, there's been more stuff about Savinho, whether this deal is going to happen or not. Let's talk about the fee. So Romano's confirming 75 million, over 75 million. There's reports that could go as high as 85 million euros. So about 80 million pounds, give or take. So crazy fee, right? Yeah, no getting around it. It's an extortionate fee for a player who's as young as Savinho and, hasn't had the best year at Man City. You would have thought it could have knocked a few million off the price. But there is a key portion of why this deal is so expensive. So as we've noticed, let's talk about Marmoush, and then we'll get into the details of why this deal is so expensive, because it's not because we're just paying for Savinho. So let me get Marmoush up. So first of all, when it comes to Omar Marmoush, there are reports tonight from SZY that terms have been agreed for Omar Marmoush. And that one is getting very, very close as well. Fabrizio Romano confirming. Let me just get his tweet up. Fabrizio Romano confirming on Omar Marmoush. Tottenham also confident to get Omar Marmoush deal done after Savinho deal agreed. Negotiation are at an advanced stage. Let me just change his headline. Marmoush. Advancing. Okay, bit of in between there. Marmoush advancing. So when it comes to Marmoush, so deal's at an advanced stage. I don't think he's going to be coming in time for Brentford, but it seems as though we are going to get these two players over the line. I'm also super excited about Omar Marmoush. I think he adds quality, he adds ball striking, he adds finishing to that forward line, he adds goals. That's the most important thing. I think he's the kind of perfect profile for Roberto De Zerbi. He's the kind of forward I think he's looking for when it comes to signing a striker this summer. I think he's been trying to get a striker who can play in between the lines, who can link up with the wingers and the other central midfielders, who can pick up the ball and run, create chances for himself. He can also create chances for his teammates. And most importantly, he can absolutely hit a ball and he can strike through a ball from difficult angles and test the goalkeeper. And he can make things happen. That we just haven't had a striker. Rishi, Solanke, they all need things made for them. They need that service. Whereas Marmoush is very different. You get the ball to feet, you get him running at their back line, and he's going to cause problems for oppositions. And I really think him, Savinho, Kudus, Maddison, Tell, all these players together are really going to link up well. And I think Marmoush could be one of the final pieces of that jigsaw. I also think having Solanke just ahead of him potentially in some games and Marmoush just dropping off could be a real good avenue of attack, because you've got that backboard with Solanke, him holding off defenders, creating space, dropping off, just laying it off for Marmoush, him taking the ball with just a yard of space and bam, finish, edge of the area in central areas closer to goal. I think a front two potentially of Solanke and Marmoush as well could be a real avenue that we go for this season. I think it's a brilliant signing. I know he has had his struggles at Man City, just like Savinho, but you know what? Just because a player doesn't work out at Man City doesn't mean that they're a bad player. Doesn't mean that they can't be a big player for us, and doesn't mean they don't improve us a lot. You look at, there's so many examples down the years. You look at Man City, they've let go of Rodgers, they've let go of Cole Palmer, they've let go of Julian Alvarez, who went to Atletico Madrid. These are not bad players. These are very, very good players who, for one reason or another, just didn't work out. Doesn't mean they're bad players. Look, when Arsenal signed Zinchenko and Jesus, they went from a team challenging for top four, finishing fifth, to a team near on the cusp of winning the Premier League in one season with just those two signings. So that's the kind of difference quality can make. And what's important here is not if they're right for City, it's if they're right for us. That is the most important aspect, and I believe they are. Now, let's talk about this big fee. So Savinho, as I mentioned, could cost 85 million. Now, the reason is we are doing this double deal. And so because we're doing a deal for both players, Omar Marmoush has a 15% sell-on clause on all profit that Man City make if they go on to sell him. That goes to Eintracht Frankfurt. So because they got a 15% sell-on on profit, what we are doing essentially is inflating the fee for Savinho, which means we are going to decrease this fee for Marmoush, which means, so this fee basically, so Man City signed him for around £70 million. So essentially, we're probably going to pay 85 million for Savinho, and we're probably going to get 15 million off the price of Marmoush. So we're probably going to pay 55 million for Marmoush. So that means City don't have to pay no 15%. They don't have to inflate the fee for Marmoush to make sure it covers that clause and the profit that they're going to make. And they make it. They make their money. They get the deal agreed with an inflated fee for Savinho. Now, it's underhanded. It's under the table stuff. But there's nothing that Frankfurt can do about it. It's completely legal. We've agreed. All we've done is agree a fee for Savinho and agree for a deal for Marmoush. And we've agreed to pay the price that Man City are setting us. Man City are setting these prices to avoid paying that 15% on the profit they make on the Marmoush deal, because they won't be making any profit if they sell him for whatever 50, 60 million. If they don't get any profit, they're not gonna make any profit. So we're probably going to end up paying here 85, probably 130 million odd to make sure that Man City basically we're not paying for Marmoush over what Man City paid. So that is why the Savinho deal is so inflated, is to basically prevent that issue from happening. Think of it, take that what you will. That is the situation. Let's see tomorrow morning. Will Savinho be ready in time for Brentford? Is he going to be registered? Is he going to be in the starting 11? Imagine if he's in training tomorrow and maybe on Saturday he could actually start the game, which would be an incredible turn of events. I don't know how Mikey Moore would feel about that, having been made to stick around only to be gazumped at the final hour by a new signing. Maybe he's just on the bench and just an option in case we need him, which would also be great. And let's see how the Marmoush deal accelerates. I think there could well be a here we go for Omar Marmoush tomorrow. Whether that's enough to get him in time for the Brentford game, unlikely. But massive news coming out of Tottenham Hotspur. Let me know in the comment section below. Are you excited about Savinho as I am? As you can tell, I'm super excited. I'm full of energy. I'm going to be staying up all night watching Savinho compilations. I can't wait for it. I might be very tired tomorrow morning. But we have Stephen McKinnery from Esteemed Company on the channel tomorrow. Perfect timing. He is going to be talking about the Savinho and Marmoush deals. So looking forward to chatting to him. We've got De Zerbi's first press conference of the season. We've got the preview for Brentford coming tomorrow. So stay tuned. Make sure you watch all the videos tomorrow. We'll see you all very soon. Like, subscribe, and comment. And as always, come on, you Spurs.